The Holy Conspiracy is essentially a film about how the scriptures are being interpreted and reinterpreted and exploited in the name of power. In this film, there is a character played by Amrita Chattopadhyay. Amrita happens to be among the most talented young actors of her generation who made her mark in films for the last 4-5 years. And in this film, she is playing a pastor's daughter of a clergyman who is caught in the middle of a major controversy and debate, also involving her best friend. Amrita, I would like to know about your take about the character. It's a very complicated character and perhaps the most difficult role you have played so far.
Yeah, if I take the works that I've done previously, the released works, then yes, this would be one of the toughest character that's like coming up in the upcoming release, as we know, in 29th July in our film A Holy Conspiracy. Firstly, I would like to thank my director of the film for trusting with such a difficult character, because often we see the director is not only able to take a decision about a particular casting in a particular film, because there are other peoples and creatives and producers, and as it happens, it's a funny way I can put it. That today morning only I received a call. I was supposed to do a particular character in a particular web series, and now the producers are finding me to be very young looking compared to the characters. So the director calls me up and says, see, I was convinced, but see, it's the producer's call also, and they find you a little childish looking for the character. And I was like, I can't say anything. But for an actor, that's like, oh my God, my day has gone, for a waste. So much things are involved in the casting of a film. So firstly, I would like to thank and I would like to pay my heartfelt gratitude to Shoaib Alda. I've told him innumerable times, and such a film with such a cast, such a brilliant cast, such a brilliant ensemble cast. Not only these two giants, but then we have Kaushik Sen, we have Biplab Das Gupta, we have Shubhrojit Dotto, we have Anushrua Majumdar, one of the greatest of our times. So when you are part of such an ensemble cast and the director bestows you with such an important role, it's basically there's too much. If you consider the baggage thing, that the director trusts you this much, so you have to do your bit, deliver. But then also on the other hand, on the flip side, if you submit to the director, and if there are scope where you can discuss what you feel for the character, what you feel the character should be, and what the director feels, and if you can come to a similar plane, I guess it becomes much more easier. So we had telephonic conversations. I went to Shoaib Alda's place. I called up one of my co-actors, and then we met there and we did a plain reading, because I was like, in my mind, Reshmi would do certain things, and in Shoaib Alda's perspective also, there were certain elements he wanted me to add, and he wanted me to probably subtract also certain elements. After the reading, I wanted his version of the thing, because we were, running short of times, and so many things were to be accomplished, and so there was no scope that we would go on the shooting floor, and amidst such a hustle bustle, I would say, Shoaib Alda, is this okay, is this all right? And he would come and he would correct me then and there, because we had to be prepared,
wind up very fast.
Yeah. So that's how it happened. And the character Reshmi Meri Mal, she's a pastor's daughter, and her fiance is on trial. So she's switching sides. She can't leave any of them. So, and she's trying to convince people. She's trying to manipulate things if she can, in her own naive way. She is not a very, very upfront character. Yeah, there are major changes which happens to her as the journey of the film continues. So she finally manages to speak up on her own, which we will see in the film. So like it's very nuanced, and there's a gradual progression of the character, which was very important to.
Having seen the film, I found that it was like a tightrope walking. One side is faith, and one side is the reason.
Yeah.
So, how did you balance the two sides, two diametrically opposite sides in your portrait of the character?
See, if you like pinpoint and ask me how I balanced, I really don't know how I balanced. I mean, as I've told you already, that I tried to, hold on to the faith that the director, according to the director, I am a perfect match for this character. So that's a huge thing, that he relies on me for this character, and the certain nuances and the things that I had, I had the time to interact with him, and I had all my queries solved, almost all my queries. But then when you're there on the shooting floor, some of your co-actor is doing, I mean, you cannot control the reaction of the other person. So you don't know how the other person is going to react at that given point of time. So I guess that's the job of an actor, to adopt to what your co-actor is reciprocating the way. And so I guess it happened that way. It's a collaborative medium, as we say.
Reshmi is also the character with whom the audience would empathize the most, because the kind of vacillations she has been going through in the film,
Yeah.
similar things would happen in the mind of an audience
Yeah.
who would approach the film for the first time.
Yeah, yeah. I think so. And there are sequences in the film. There was also a very important sequence which finally couldn't make it to the final cut of the film, which I had with my father, where he is praying to the God, to the Almighty, and saying that, oh God, my daughter, she is also, I cannot control her. She is going haywire. Just, make sure that her brain, her mind is, reorganized, and she comes back and she still holds on to the faith. So each and every person is different, and their faith and their belief in Almighty and their outlook and approach towards life is different. So people, like characters such as this pastor's character, who's very manipulative in a way, and we have seen parents like this who really want to manipulate their child from the moment they're being born to their schooling, their college life, and when they enter the work field, the thought process, how they'll dress, everything. So basically, I guess that's a primal instinct to, this is my child, he or she is mine, so I'll manipulate and she will deliver and she'll do everything which I want her to do. So whenever there's a deviation from that path or that thought process, then comes the problem. So it was fun. It was like, when now I look back at it, I think it's fun. It was fun. And Parthapratim Mojumdar, who played my father, he's a very funny and amicable and very outgoing person in real life, and the character is complete opposite. So I can very well imagine how tough it was for him to be, such a difficult father, and such stoic in his stoic, arrogant manner, doing all that he has done, and then breaking into a laughter once the director says cut.
And Amrita, as you mentioned him, he's a very famous mime artist.
Absolutely.
From Bangladesh originally, now settled in France.
Yeah.
You also happen to work with two giants of Indian cinema and theatre.
Yeah.
In a few words, what did you learn from three of them?
See, so many memories and so many small incidents. I cannot just put it in few words, but then even if I have to, I would say that professionalism would be the most important word, because as many of us know, that Soumitra Babu was severely ill while he was filming this, and the way he blended his illness into the character,
Portrayal.
that's like unimaginable how he did that. So those who don't know what was going behind the scenes, they won't be able to make out. So since we know, we have seen, we are part of the whole thing, we know that probably that has helped him also in the portrayal of this. So there was a nurse who would, feed him his medicines and stuff. So we were like, is he okay? Is he all right? And he couldn't shoot for a very long period of time. So his, like, in a day he would probably give us 4 or 5 hours. So we got Nasiruddin Shah in floor for a much longer time than Soumitra Babu. But then both of them are very, they knew what they were doing. They were very well equipped with what they were doing, and they were very professional. They would rehearse with each and every co-actor when there's an altercation, because a large chunk of our film is in the courtroom. It's a courtroom drama. So, and I would remember there's one, like, starkly remembering, remarkable sequence. There, towards the end of the film, there's this one sequence where Nasir Saab is in a bus, and I'm rushing towards him, and there's a conversation. So I remember we shot that in Bolpur in May, and it was around 40 degrees Celsius. And while filming, he developed a back pain, Nasirji. So we were all very cautious that, okay, this shouldn't aggravate. So, and he was on medication. So once the two shot and his close-up was done, Shoaib Halder said that, sir, aapka ho gaya, you can just go to the makeup van and rest, and we'll take Rishmi's close-up. And there's assistants, they'll give her the cue. So I remember he says, no, how can that happen? I've been acting for 48 years, and it's never happened with me that the assistants are giving cue and I'm being able to deliver what I am meant to deliver. So how will I expect this from her? I haven't done it myself, I won't do it with her. So in that sweltering heat of Bolpur, he sat in the bus, and while the camera was being set, there's this thing called, matching eye line, you would know. He shifted towards the camera, and to make sure he gives his original position so I can look at him in the eye and deliver my dialogue. Now Nasiruddin Shah doesn't need to do that with me. He can say, okay beta, ho gaya, take care beta, it was nice. He can just walk out, because I've seen that, I've experienced that with co-actors in Bengali film industry. I'm not belittling anyone, but I've seen that, like, seniors have done that. They have finished their scene, their sequences, and they're saying, okay, bye Amrita, and then they don't wait for me to reply, they just walk out. So Nasiruddin Shah is sitting there and giving me cues. I was like, oh my god, this is professionalism. So a lot to learn. I think all of us, we are extremely fortunate, and we can take pride in the fact that this is the only film in the history of Indian cinema where these two giants are there in a duel or in a jugalbandi, as whichever way you want to put it.
Very well put.
But then, and it'll never happen again. Unfortunately, it will never happen again. So by default, we are part of a historically significant film. So I think for that, we are extremely indebted to Shoaib Halder once again.
Would you want to add a few things about how the audience would approach the film? What should they expect from the film?
As we all know, it's from a very famous play, and which is from a very famous incident. So the play has been done in the format of play, also in the format of a film. So when our trailer released, I've seen some of the comments, people are saying, this is very similar to Inherit the Wind. I was like, damn it is the same text. So, not similar, it's the same text, but Shoaib Halder has...
the context has changed.
Yeah, the context has changed, and he has adopted the, how this, if this has to happen in 2022, how this will happen. So that's how he, rearranged the whole storyline, which is a very, very difficult thing to do with such an old and famous text. So I would say that, and since we had a screening in Kolkata International Film Festival. We already tasted water. So, and I was there for the screening, and I remember like none of our co-actors could visit on that particular day because all of them were tied up with shoot. And I was there, and one of our very senior technician who did the color of the film, Devojyoti Da, he was there, and we were like, we have to go. We have to make out time, and we have to go because this is the first screening in Kolkata. We have to see how the audience is, responding to the film. And so we went there. The hall was packed up. People were sitting on the floor. People were sitting on the couch. Some were standing because there were no more places. So we just saw that the screening has started, and we walked out. We roamed around, and then towards the finishing time, we went outside the, the place where they were supposed to come out of the hall, and we miscalculated about 5 minutes because the moment we were walking towards the exit gate, we could see people rushing outside, and all of them, I knew none of them except my parents. They were there. So they were rushing out and they were gushing, and people were like, "You were so good." I was like, okay. So I couldn't, get a chance to breathe. I couldn't get a breather because so many people were coming, and they were coming up to me, coming up to Debuda. They were congratulating. I was like, where are my parents? And they were coming outside, and they just said, "Bhalo hoyeche," because I couldn't talk to them. And after solid 15 minutes, probably, I get a chance, after all the photo sessions and selfies, can I get a selfie? Ma'am, what do you feel? I was like, yeah, please let me go to my parents and hear from them. So
the gut feeling is the film has worked for them.
Yes, and it was an overwhelming feeling for all of us. We called up Shoaib Allah and we said, you should have been there. Because this is the first screening and people are overjoyed and people are lauding the film so much. So you should have been there. So now that has given me confidence that, people are not being very critical because it's not a very simple story. It's not a very simple day-to-day story. And it's not a very feel-good, happy film, or it's a, teenage romance that will go to the hall and come out with, such happiness in our heart and remember our college days. Nothing like this. It's a serious film based on a very serious subject. But then people are being able to connect with it. So many people have watched the trailer and they've texted me, my colleagues, my friends from Bangladesh, senior directors, they're saying similar things are happening in Bangladesh. We are being able to connect with it.
Absolutely. All across South Asia.
All across South Asia. So I think that's the, what do you call that? That's the Munshiana of the director's vision, that the way he has put the film, the way he has placed the storyline and the film in 2022, that people are being able to connect with it. So do not hold any baggage because when you have casts like this, you don't need any more reason, I guess. So just this is a film made for the big screen. You won't be able to get an inch, an iota of the feeling of the film if you watch it in a pirated version, in your laptop, in your desktop, your phone. No way. So trust us on this, and please visit your nearest cinema hall because it's an all India release, and we are not getting 50,000 or 5,000 hall like the biggies, but we are trying our best. Maybe we'll get 100 halls, but then if you guys visit us and watch the film in those 100 halls, I'm sure you guys won't come out disappointed. So you guys have to rush to the cinema hall, and in the first week only. Don't wait for the second or the third week because show timings will change. So many films are going to come and go. So take our words and go with your gut feeling. And we are getting so many positive reactions. You guys have been waiting for 3 years to watch this film. Now this is the time. Please be with us.
Catch it. Thank you, Amrita. Thank you so much. You have been so warm and clear about your vision of the film. Thank you.
Your Honor, I hold that the right to think is very much on trial.
A man is on trial.
A thinking man